I'll be honest, when I first started looking at cargo e-bikes, I thought they looked awesome. But at the same time, a lot of them look really big and honestly a little intimidating for everyday family use. Then Radio Flyer, yes, the same company most of us grew up with, sent over their brand new Flyer Loop. And after spending some time with it, loading up the kids, running errands, and riding around the neighborhood, I think they may have figured out something a lot of other cargo bikes miss. Because even though this is still a cargo bike, it doesn't feel nearly as big or overwhelming as it looks. So let's check it out. Hey, what's up guys, this is Daddy O from the O family. Today we're checking out something a little different. This is the brand new Flyer Loop from Radio Flyer. Now when most people think of Radio Flyer, you probably think of the classic little red wagon, but they've actually been making electric bikes too. Oh really? And this one right here is their newest compact cargo e-bike designed for families, errands, everyday riding, and just making life easier. Okay. So today we're going to unbox it, put it together, take it out for a ride with the family, test out all the features, and see if this is actually worth it. Let's get to it. Put this up. Now when it gets delivered, it's not the company's fault, but it's the delivery department where they set this down, just dropped it, and the box is damaged a little bit. Come on, man! So hopefully nothing is damaged inside, and they just send us extra boxes. This is a child seat guard, and then this is the basket, front basket, and this one, I think that's the guard for the child seat. So let's go ahead and open the big one first. Oh, it opens up nice and easy. Nice. That's nice. I don't have to cut it up like other e-bikes. There we go. Nice. First impressions already, getting this thing out of the box was actually super easy. You know how some bike boxes are ridiculously thick and stapled together where you're basically fighting for your life trying to open it? This one was nice and simple. Once we cut the corners, the whole box just open right up, and honestly it kind of reminded me of opening a brand new phone or something because everything inside was packaged really nicely. You got smaller boxes, paper bags, zip ties, everything was secured really well so nothing was moving around during shipping. All right, let's start digging into this thing.
A few moments later.
Ooh, okay, this blue color looks good. Pictures honestly don't do it justice. And I really like how clean the Flyer logo looks on the frame too. Up front we got the front fender already included, plus these Kanda tires which actually look really nice for everyday riding and commuting. Inside this smaller box we got all the accessories and parts, and this is actually pretty cool. Little reminder that Radio Flyer has been around for over 100 years. Whoa. Which is honestly crazy because pretty much all of us grew up with those classic little red wagons. Now they're making electric bikes. Okay. We've also got the owner's manual, left and right pedals, rear reflector, front reflector, charger, toolkit, and this right here looks like the center stand we'll need to install. But overall everything looks super organized and packaged really well. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing put together. Time to get this thing put together. First up was installing the double leg kickstand, and once that was on, it made the whole bike way easier to work on. And honestly, I really like the setup because it keeps the bike super stable while you're building everything out. Next, I popped up the stem, locked it into place, and installed the handlebars. And right away, this bike already started feeling way more compact than some of the bigger cargo e-bikes we've tested. After getting the handlebars lined up and tightened down, it was time to install the headlight, and I gotta say I really like how clean everything looks once it starts coming together. Next up was the front wheel. Once I removed the axle and brake guards, the front wheel slid in pretty easily, and after tightening everything down, the bike was finally starting to look complete. After that, I installed the front fender and made a few small adjustments to make sure nothing was rubbing against the tire. Now it was time for all the family accessories, and honestly this is where the Flyer Loop really starts standing out. We installed the rear cubby kit, side bars, foot pegs, rear lighting, and all the extra parts that basically transform this from a normal e-bike into a full family cargo setup. And I actually really like how customizable everything is. You can tell this bike was designed around everyday family use. The cubby setup gives kids a really secure and comfortable place to ride while still keeping things open enough for airflow and visibility. And once everything was fully installed, this thing honestly looked pretty good. Last thing we added was the front basket, which is definitely going to come in handy for groceries, bags, or just everyday errands. And finally, after getting everything tightened down, pedals installed, accessory mounted, and the bike fully assembled, the flyer loop was finally ready for its first ride. So now let's talk about some of the features and specs on the flyer loop, because honestly this bike feels really well thought out. Right away, one of the biggest things I noticed is the size. This bike feels way more compact and manageable compared to some of those giant cargo e-bikes out there. And I think that's what makes this bike feel less intimidating for everyday family use. The low step-through frame makes getting on and off really easy, especially when you've got kids or cargo loaded up in the back. And it's designed to fit riders from about 4'11" all the way up to 6'3", so it works for a pretty wide range of people. One thing I really like is the foldable stem. If you need to load this into a vehicle, store it in a garage, or just save space, it definitely makes life easier. Now power wise, this comes with 750 watt rear hub motor paired with the torque sensor. And honestly, the torque sensor makes a huge difference on a family bike like this. The power delivery feels really smooth and natural, so when you take off, it's not jerky or aggressive. And that's important when you've got kids riding in the back. This bike also has a range of around 30 to 50 plus miles depending on how you ride. So family rides, school runs, grocery trips, or just cruising around the neighborhood, that should be more than enough for most people. And even though this tops out at 20 miles per hour, honestly, for a family cargo bike, I think that's the sweet spot. It still feels plenty powerful while keeping things comfortable and controlled. And this thing can haul too. The flyer loop has a max payload capacity of 440 pounds with up to 220 pounds ported on the rear rack alone. So carrying 2 kids, groceries, backpacks, sports gear, this thing handles it no problem. And speaking of kids riding in the back, one thing I noticed right away was how stable this dual leg kickstand feels. Usually on cargo bikes, once the kids climb on the back, the bike starts tipping and rocking around like a seesaw. But this one feels really stable and well balanced. Even sitting on the back myself, I didn't feel any weird tipping or balance issues. And another smart little detail is the spring-loaded front wheel stabilizer. Normally when cargo bikes are parked, the handlebar flop to one side and you constantly have to straighten everything back out. But this setup automatically helps keep the front wheel centered, which honestly makes getting on and off the bike way less annoying. Now when it comes to safety, Radio Flyer definitely took things seriously here. This bike is UL certified, which is something I personally always like seeing on e-bikes. So the battery, charger, and electrical systems have all been tested to meet safety standards, which definitely gives extra peace of mind when riding with family. So overall, it definitely feels like quality and safety were a big priority during the design process. For stopping power, you got 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes with massive 203mm rotors. And honestly, the braking feels super smooth and confident, especially when you're carrying extra weight. You also get integrated lighting with built-in turn signals, which is another huge plus for riding around neighborhood or busy areas. The bike rides on 20 by 2.4-inch Kanda cargo tires that are puncture resistant, and they feel really planted and comfortable on the road. And paired with the front suspension fork, it does a really good job soaking up bumps, cracks, and potholes. You also get an 8-speed Shimano's gear setup with trigger shifters, plus a really clean LCD display. And one feature I thought was super useful is a built-in storage compartment. You can throw tools, a charger, water bottle, or small everyday items in there, which is honestly really convenient. Overall, this bike just feels really smart. Like every little detail feels designed around actual family use instead of just trying to throw a bunch of crazy specs on a bike. And honestly, I think that's what makes the flyer loop stand out. Alright, here we go. We're gonna go eco mode first. Yup. That's the slowest. All right, here we go. La 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 la, toora toora. Goes up to 20 miles per hour. Now the tour mode, sport mode, 14 miles per hour. Let's do a turbo mode. 20 miles per hour, that's the highest it'll go. Put your hands up in the air, wiggle like you don't care. This is where the flyer loop really started making sense to me. Up until this point, we've talked about the specs, features, and everything it can do on paper. But once you actually get out and ride it with the family, that's when you really understand what this bike was designed for. The rear rack is big enough to comfortably carry 2 kids, and with a 220-pound capacity back there, you've got plenty of flexibility for growing kids, extra cargo, or whatever the day calls for. And one thing I really appreciate is how stable and balanced the bike feels, even when you've got passengers riding in the back. The cubby kit and cubby caboodle add an extra layer of comfort and security, which gives you a lot more peace of mind as a parent. The kids can sit back, enjoy the ride, and you don't have to constantly worry about them moving around or feeling exposed. And honestly, the boys absolutely loved it, whether we're cruising through the neighborhood, heading to the park, running errands, grabbing groceries, or just going out for a fun family ride. This bike feels right at home, and that's what I think makes the Flyer Loop special. It's not trying to be the fastest e-bike on the road. It's designed to make everyday family adventures easier, more comfortable, and a whole lot more fun. And if you need to haul groceries, sports gear, backpacks, or even bring your furry friend along for the ride, this bike has the versatility to do all of that too. At the end of the day, it's one of those bikes that just makes you want to get outside and ride more. And honestly, that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. Alright, so after spending some time with the Flyer Loop, here's what I liked and a few things I think could be improved. First, I really like the compact design. Even though this is a cargo bike, it doesn't feel overly large or intimidating. The handling is excellent, it's comfortable to ride, and it feels very family friendly. I also love the torque sensor. Power delivery feels smooth and natural, which is exactly what you want when you're carrying kids in the back. The foldable stem is a great feature for storage and transportation. The hydraulic brakes feel strong and confidence inspiring, especially when carrying extra weight. The integrated lighting and turn signals are another big plus for visibility and safety. And one thing I really appreciate was how stable the dual leg kickstand feels. On a lot of cargo bikes, once kids start climbing on the back, the bike wants to rock back and forth, tip around like a seesaw. But the Flyer Loop stays surprisingly stable, which gives you a lot more confidence when loading kids or cargo. I also really like the front wheel stabilizer. When the bike is parked, the handlebars naturally want to stay centered instead of flopping over to one side. It's one of those small details that makes everyday use a lot easier. And overall, I think this bike is fantastic for family rides, school pickups, errands, and everyday adventures. Now honestly, there isn't a whole lot for me to complain about here. If you're looking for a super fast e-bike, this probably isn't the bike for you. This bike is clearly designed around comfort, safety, practicality, and family use rather than outright speed. The display also works perfectly fine, but I wouldn't mind seeing a slightly larger screen. And while the bike does have a little horn, I personally would have liked a lot of horn buttons, but honestly, those are pretty minor complaints. And because this is still a cargo bike, it's naturally heavier than a standard e-bike, although it definitely feels lighter and easier to handle than it looks. Overall, I honestly think Radio Flyer did a really good job with the Flyer Loop. What I like most is that they created a cargo e-bike that feels approachable. It feels practical, comfortable, easy to ride, and most importantly, fun for the whole family. From the smooth torque sensor to the stable kickstand design to the thoughtful family focused accessories, it really feels like a bike that was designed by people who actually understand how families use cargo bikes. And I definitely see why cargo e-bikes are becoming more and more popular. If you'd like to learn more about the Flyer Loop, I'll have more information down below in the description. And if I have an affiliated link available, I'll put it down there as well so you guys can go check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out our future reviews and adventures. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.